Could someone who hasn't played a single NBA game actually win Sixth Man of the Year next season? That's what I want to find out because people are floating the name Nikola Topic. He's a high draft pick, 12th pick from last year. Didn't play a single second due to his ACL injury, but people are saying that he could win Sixth Man of the Year for OKC Thunder, and that grabbed my attention quite frankly. So, bit of a case study. I'm going to dive into him. Let's talk about Nikola Topic. All right, the man in question today, the person that I am diving into a bit is Nikola Topic. And I will be honest, the origins of this insight, deep dive, I heard it on a podcast and I wish I could identify which podcast it was. It might have been Kevin O'Connor on his. He may have said it or his guest may have said it, but regardless, somebody said that Nikola Topic was like a Sixth Man of the Year candidate or leader for the sake of a good story. Maybe they said leader next season. And I was like, huh? Nikola Topic, the man that hasn't played a single second for the OKC Thunder after getting drafted due to injury. He might win Sixth Man of the Year. Quite frankly, I was surprised, but I'm like, well, this is kind of cool. Because maybe it's going to make me... That's a cool thing about podcasts. Because it makes you think about people completely differently after you hear one single line like that. One single word like that. And I did. Now I'm thinking of Nikola Topic a whole lot higher than I did because somebody else said something like that to him. So I found that cool. But it also made me want to dive a bit more into his history, who he is as a person, and put the spotlight on him. So I'm going to do just that. It's interesting when people say this stuff. So the facts. He's a 6'6" point guard from Serbia. No, look, when I say Nikola Topic, I'm sure Nikola Jokic, his name pops into mind, but he is a teammate of him in the national team. Have they ever actually played together? Not sure, but I'm sure they will in the future. And I'm sure they're close. Anyway, this is me going through the facts and I'm giving my opinions. But here's a fact. One of the youngest ABA League or EuroLeague contributors is what the interwebs told me. So he started EuroLeague and I think he only played 5 games for EuroLeague, but he started playing as a pro in Europe, in Serbia, in a few other places maybe. Pretty damn young. 16, 17, 18. All during those years is when he's played. And he's had success on that stage. He's one of those young guys that come into the NBA after they've made like all tournament teams for like under 18 championships and all that, those type of awards overseas in the 2023 European under 18 championships is what he did it. He won MVP in that tournament, all tournament honors, things of that nature. They come into the NBA in the United States system with a backlog of European success. Think Luka Doncic. Like people already knew who he was over there, but he comes into the NBA world, people not knowing as much because he's from Europe. And he wasn't in the college system. He wasn't in the high school system. He wasn't in the system over here. I say here as in America because I'm in Australia, but we pay more attention. Well, I pay more attention to what's happening there. So these unknown European people are actually quite interesting. And they're kind of exciting to dive into, especially when you don't know too much about them. But he was looking the goods. And people thought of him as a top 5 pick. Hell, I swear even like top 3 at times. Like people were talking about this dude like he was legit. But he tore his ACL, which nobody likes injuries. Especially when it happens to young players that are trying to like get that first paycheck. I know that's pretty blunt, but get that first paycheck. Come onto the scene. Make the NBA. He was going to make the NBA regardless. But this ACL did him no favors at all and made him plummet. Plummet is a very strong word. Made him drop in the draft to number 12 to OKC. As I mentioned before, top 5 pick is what people were talking to him about until he got injured. But 12th pick, still bloody good. I'd take that if I was anyone. If I was watching in Australia that got that, that's awesome. That's cool. But of course, ACL is one of the worst injuries you can get. It's always ACL or Achilles. Can we get some more like smaller injuries to these people and not make it so dramatic and not make it so long term because it sucks to see, but it does add to the intrigue. So he missed the entire season last season. I found this interesting. I was actually ChatGPT is your friend when you're researching some unique facts about players, and ChatGPT was like, ChatGPT was basically saying like, oh, he joins the prestige list of people who have won NBA championships without playing a single game. Clearly, OKC value him very highly. And I was just like, what has that got to do with OKC valuing him highly? Like, yes, they could have dropped him. Actually, no, it wouldn't even make sense, right? A top pick like that, even if he was dropped to the G League team. I don't know. It was just worded weird, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure he was just injured, and he was on the roster, so technically you win a championship. Anyway, yes, he's already an NBA champion without playing a single game, so congrats. Tick that one off the list. How good. The last fact was in, what's this? 2023. So again, I'm not across European tournament, but there's something called the ANGT, which I assume is like not like a Nike hoop summit, but I assume it's like a showcase of some description. I could be wrong, but he had 49 points and added 12 assists in that game, which was the all-time scoring record over there. So even though, and you will see this later, not necessarily a scorer at all, that's not what comes to mind at all for me, but clearly he can score, even if it's a lower level. So I thought I'd chuck that in there. But you go to the review section, watch some tape, you will see how smart this guy is. And the overarching theme of who Nikola Topic is his IQ. How smart of a player he is, how good of a passer he is, and how smart of a passer he is as well. They are the main things that pop up to me whenever I watch footage of him. And I remember doing this before draft. I'm like, who the hell is this Nikola Topic person? And I'm still kind of questioning that. I'm still kind of leveling up that dive, that investigation. But yeah, crafty floor general, tall point guard. That's the read you get. Smaller Josh Giddey. That's what I labeled him as. That's what I kind of picture as. But his game is kind of like either driving kicks, driving floaters, driving in general. The jump shot is the question mark, which I think for a lot of these players is. You're either kind of one of these players that are like elite IQ, passing, mid-range even, driving. But then the question is always on your three-point shooting. And I think that's 100% on him. I'll read some stats. Actually, I'll read them right now. Plot twist. He's basically sitting around 30% over his 3 or so seasons over in Europe. And keep in mind, that's someone who's a young guy, like 16, 17, 18. Those were the years he's over there, and those were the years these stats were being recorded as. So don't read too much into that, but the fact is that's all we can go by. And I mean, that's what we do with college kids anyway, who are 18. So 3-point shooting is not a strength, and he doesn't take that many. I think in his 5 EuroLeague games, this is going off the noggin. I'm not even looking at my stats here, I promise. But off the noggin, I remember looking at, I never say noggin that often. He didn't take a single 3 in his 5 EuroLeague games. I would love if that was fact-checked because that's quite interesting, especially in the game. But the European game is different. Where was I with that? That is his game. He's not an elite athlete by any means, but again, the Josh Giddey mold. Maybe he's just smarter than people. Maybe he can work the angles a bit better than most can. I think that's his calling card. So what have you done for me lately, Nikola Topic? Summer League. This was when most NBA fans and most people actually got to see Nikola Topic play on these shores, this land. Like the Summer League. Summer League is such an interesting thing. Yes, it's a different brand of basketball, but you do get to see people like this who you have not seen yet, which is kind of cool. But he had 10 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds across 6 games. Those were his averages. But watching the highlights, and keep in mind, this was his first on-court action since the ACL, so don't, judge him don't write him off or don't say he'll have an all-star career based off this. But it was the first time we saw him, so take that with a grain of salt. But the one thing that was cool was the amount of excitement and sort of like in awe the commentators were of some of the passes Topic made at Summer League, which was cool to see. And the buzz in the air of the crowd, like you got some of the background noise in the crowd when you watch those highlights. So again, passing and IQ is 100% his game. To me, that's how I will view him. Like a floor leader, a floor general, as soon as he steps out there. And that's who he is. That leads me nicely. Oh, sorry. Backtrack. One stat before we go into who Nikola Topic is as a person. But the 3-point game, I was talking about this before. 33% on threes at Summer League, which is fine. Like, it is what it is. I'd say it's below average, whatever you want to call it. in my mind, I always think of the 50-40-90 rule, 50% from field goals in general, 40% from three and 90% from free throw. To me, they are the categories of like excellent or great. That's what you should be aiming for. So if you're like me and sometimes you're like, hey, what is quote unquote a good percentage to shoot from three? That's how I look at it in my brain, 50-40-90. So if you're shooting 40, great. That's 100% where you want to get to. So he's at 33. It's not bad, but I think you'd want to raise it, especially if teams are giving you that shot, which I assume they will. The person. Now, he's a bit of an unknown. I think that comes from, European players because they don't get as much coverage in terms of probably... I mean, they might, but maybe it's not as like known to the public or what I'm looking at least, the pages I'm following. But the things that pop up is leadership, maturity, and intelligence. Those are the three categories what I looked at and what you kind of read about this guy. So that's how he kind of is. He doesn't seem like an outgoing sort of outlandish character. He just seems like a smart, mature, poised veteran almost, even though he's a young kid. You can call him a kid. He's 18, 19 years old. That's a kid. Maybe he's 20. Not even sure yet. But that's what coaches and sort of players talked about. He's just a bright, intelligent floor general. So the person and the player that Nikola Topic, I've just come this far and realized I was talking about Nikola Jokic this whole time. Nikola Topic clearly match each other pretty well. So that's kind of neat. Quotes. I like this section. So good job by me for adding this in here. But it's all fun and well for me to say some stuff about Nikola Topic. But what do people who actually know him well say about him? Let's start with Nikola Topic. Look, from himself. This is what he said. I think this was before he joined one of his European teams, but it kind of shows his mindset. We haven't talked about... Sorry, it's about the role Topic will play on the team. We haven't talked about the role I will have. Whatever he says, he being the coach, I will do it. If he tells me to die on the court, I will die on the court. Whatever the demand is, I'm here to give my maximum to fulfill it. Speaks to the team player. Speaks to... I know these are kind of... you're like, hey, what would you like a player to say in a media situation? That's it. He's going to say it. But the fact that he uses that phrase, like if he tells me to die on the court, I will die on the court. It gives you some confidence that he's kind of like a glue guy. He'll kind of go and do whatever the role. He'll do whatever the role is required of him. That is really poorly worded, but you get what I'm trying to say. Whatever role is required, he will do it. Nice. Next, Milos Teodosic. Pronunciation A+. Serbian legend is how he's described. But I'm pretty sure was he the Clipper? Milos Teodosic. But I think he was, maybe. I'm sure he's played in the NBA. Anyway, he said, I have no doubt that he's our future for the next 15 years, which goes to show what high regard Serbian players and Serbian community hold to him. Oh, the one thing that I didn't mention about the person of Topic is he seems very family orientated and he seems like he cares a lot about his culture and his country, which is cool. I think he wants to play for his national team as much as he can. And this flows in nicely to what Milo said about being the future for the next 15 years. Final quote, most relevant to me, most telling to me. So let's just take that in until I say it. No, Mark Daigneault, OKC head coach. He's pretty young. I don't know why I added that in, but maybe it's because I saw the word young. But anyway, this is his quote. This is on Nikola Topic, obviously. He's incredibly young. He's stateside for the first time, in the NBA for the first time, coming off a long-term injury and has been unbelievably consistent and mature and professional in his approach. He's an old soul. Speaks to his intelligence and maturity. He's way beyond his years. So that bodes really well for him. The guys really respect the way he approaches things. Again, if I've nailed anything this episode, it's that he's a mature, bright, intelligent young kid who's mature. I think I just said that. I should have said who's like a leader at heart. I feel like he's going to be a great leader, especially when he's older. He's only young. And this really puts it into perspective. He's stateside for the first time. He's never been at least like working or out for a long period of time to the United States, but suddenly you are tasked with working here and being in the NBA spotlight. That's a big thing. And I'm sure it's a big thing, and European clubs are big and everything, but nothing really compares to the NBA and the spotlight and the internet and the social media and all of it. So I can't imagine what that would be like for someone coming over from Europe to play here, to play there. I'm in Australia. Stop saying that. So that puts it into perspective. And I think that's something you have to take onto account. So Nikola Topic, final reaction and thoughts to the potential Sixth Man of the Year next season after diving into it, reading more about him, learning more about him. I'm still having a hard time seeing how he can be the Sixth Man of the Year. But in saying that, maybe his IQ and his vision and his passing skills and even like his driving ability, maybe all that stuff is good enough to actually be in part of the Sixth Man of the Year conversation. That's going to be very interesting to watch. As I said before, can he shoot it? Can he actually shoot it? You look at his highlights, you see some shots, his form looks okay, his release looks okay, maybe a little slow if I was going to critique something. I don't know. But I'm very curious to see what his shot looks like, and I'm very curious to be watching when they just throw him out there and be like, what can you do for us right now as an NBA player? Besides from some quick reads, good passing, good vision. I love that stuff. I genuinely love that stuff, but I'm not sure how much that is going to impact right away. And especially for Sixth Man of the Year who hasn't played a single second of regular season basketball in the NBA before. I think it's quite a big call, but people like Kevin O'Connor have been covering the game for ages. I'm not sure he's the one that even said that, so I should probably stop putting his name to it. But if he did, I kind of trust people like that who watch the game a lot. You'd think he's been around the game for a lot. And when I was doing my research to try to find out who the hell actually said this, I saw some other articles that was like saying the exact same thing. If it all pans out, if it goes well, he could be in the Sixth Man of the Year contention for the Thunder. So it's not just him. Keep in mind that some of those came from like Thunder beat writers and Thunder orientated people. But again, they might know best. They've been watching him at practice. They've been researching him more than I have until now. To finish with, to me, he's a small Josh Giddey. That's how I see it, at least to begin with. So how good can that be right away? But to leave you, he's still a big unknown to me. And I think he must be a big unknown to most people because unless you're from Europe or you watch a lot of Europe tape of him, you probably don't really know what to expect 100%. But at least now I have a bit more of an idea. So Nikola Topic, please. Hey, it'd be cool if you won Sixth Man of the Year in your first season, essentially. Wonder how many times that's been done. I should look into it. Nikola Topic, I'm glad I know more about you, so let's see how it goes with him. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. My whole aim here is to build a community of people that have discussions in basketball, and that sounds super simple, but that's what I want. So a big part of that is you getting involved. So it's cliche to say on a podcast and a YouTube setting, but drop a comment, share it with a friend. Say, hey, what do you think of this? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you have an alternative opinion? Literally just do that because I want discussion. Thanks again.